Hello, this is Brian from Geopath, and today we'll be talking about how to run a market plan in the Workspace module. To start a new market plan, you can work in either the Sandbox or the Projects view of the Workspace module. Here, in the Sandbox view, I'll hit Add Scenario. The market plan tool can be very helpful in the pre-planning stage, and can help you understand the number of spots needed to reach a certain goal. You can think of the market plan as a market averages tool, as it utilizes both medians and averages to help you understand how audience and inventory interact in different markets. Let's start with a basic example. Before I begin, as a note, there's not a specific order you need to follow in market plan setup here, so you can add the different filters and components of your plan in any order. Let's say, for example, we're working in the Atlanta CBSA. I've got my market selected and I can hit Add as Individual. In this example, let's say my audience is persons 18 plus. You'll notice once you add an audience to your market plan, you have a few more options that pop up in this delivery goals section. These help market plan understand what specific goal you're trying to achieve with your plan. I'll come back to that in just a minute. When setting up your market plan, you can add specific operators or let the plan run against all operators who have that media type in the market. So I could select based on these higher level organizations or more specific divisions if I were looking at specific transit authorities, but in this example I want to look at posters from all operators here. The media selection is the most specific part of the market plan setup, so there are a few recommendations I always like to make here. The majority of your selection can be done from this median placement group here. When setting up a market plan, the first thing I always recommend is setting up your media class filter. Here you can select roadside, fleet, or place-based. The reason we stress the importance of the media class filter in your market plan setup is that there are certain media types that may fall into different classes. For example, there are instances where something like a kiosk or a digital kiosk may fall in both roadside or place-based. In an example like this, it's extremely important to select both the media class and the operator media name. So for our example today, I'm looking at roadside posters. So I'll first select roadside, and then under operator media name, you can easily select posters here and click Add. Say you were working on a plan that included both posters and bulletins. There are actually a few different ways that you can add these to your plan. With roadside selected, I'll have the option to select both bulletins and posters. However, you'll notice when I hit Add Selected, they appear on a single line as one item. You can add your media to your plan this way and run it successfully. However, I would actually recommend adding them to your plan one at a time. So instead of roadside posters bulletins all together, if I were to deselect bulletins and have posters and my media class of roadside selected up here, I can hit Add, and you'll see roadside posters. Then if I deselect that and select bulletins, you'll see I now have these two different media types on separate lines. This first option and this option of these two together would run the same way and get you generally the same results. But the reason that I recommend adding them separately this way is that you'll have much more control over how many different pieces of media for each media type are added to the plan. For this first example today though, I'm just going to run this against posters. Once I have my audience, my market, and my media type selected, I need to set the plan period and then finally the goals for my plan. So let's say this is a 4-week plan, and I want to run this against 200 TRPs. You'll notice here in this dropdown, you have additional options for your plan goal. By default, the system will use a TRP goal, but you can also run your plan based on number of impressions, a specific reach percentage, or if you wanted to see how an average number of spots would run against these plan parameters, you could use spot count goal. For this first example, I'll use a TRP goal of 200. Here you'll see the summary level metrics, and if you open the plan here, you'll see the more specific results at the media type level. Again, for this plan, I set this up to run against all posters in this CBSA. So if I open this drop down here, I'll see a list of all of the different operators who have posters in this market and the overall count of that inventory that they have. Let's set up a slightly more complicated market plan. Again, in the Sandbox or Projects view, I can hit Add Scenario, and we can start to set up a new plan. This time I'll use an audience of persons 21 plus. Our market will keep at the Atlanta CBSA level, but this time I want to create a plan that has a mix of media from different media classes, say for example scheduled, fleet, and roadside. Open up the media selection. Again, we always recommend starting with the media class filter. So for the first piece of media that I'm going to add, I'll do roadside, and then under operator media name, I'll do posters. Once you hit add selected, you'll want to go and deselect what you've already selected here. Now that I've deselected that, I'm going to select fleet exterior scheduled. Then under operator media name, I want to add Kings. You can actually have the system include or exclude certain spots in your market plan. Or spots that you know will be unavailable, you can include or exclude those spots from this market plan selection by adding their IDs here. So once I've got my selection here, I can hit apply selections. And then again, the last thing I need to do is set up my plan period and the delivery goals. So let's say this is an 8-week campaign, and rather than TRPs, let's say I wanted to look at a spot count goal, and I wanted my plan to have 20 spots. This will be helpful to illustrate how market plan compiles packages. Now I'll hit generate. Here you'll see my summary level metrics for the entire plan, and if I open this up, I can look at the specific metrics for each media type. The reason that I chose 20 spots as my goal here is because I felt this would be representative of the way that market plan functions. So when you have different media types in your plan, in this example posters and Kings, market plan will take whatever goal you select and split it as evenly as possible between the two different media types. So here, because I had chosen 20 spots, it split my goal 10 and 10 against my two media types. If I had chosen 200 TRPs, it would have generated a plan that was 100 TRPs for posters and 100 TRPs for Kings. Just like before, you can open up a specific media type and see the operators with this media type in that market. And because we have different media types in this plan, you can see the per media type metrics as well as the summary metrics up top.